holy cow, yes. Like, do I find myself like in a moment at a basketball game, at a swim meet, at a t-ball game, thinking like, God dang, I got to get the report to my boss. Like, how am I going to get this done?
Yep.
All the time. Like, I said report, insert deliverable X.
Yeah, whatever.
Right? Like, whatever it is. But, like, you're just thinking about the next thing, the next bill, the next, like, opportunity.
Yep.
And it's like, I got to seize this. I have to deliver for my family. And it's like, bro, you're with your family right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, be where your feet are.
Exactly. Hey everyone, welcome in episode 3 of DadTails. Today we are talking about what we're calling the provider squeeze. If you've ever done daycare math late at night, like I have, Pete, have you ever done that?
You mean like wake up in the middle of the night unprovoked and think, oh my gosh, daycare's so expensive.
Yes.
Like how am I going to pay my bills?
Yes.
Like, how is my daycare more expensive than my home?
Yes.
Yeah.
If you ever thought those things, you're not going to want to miss today's episode. So stay tuned. How are you though, by the way? Kicking off episode 3. Man, can't believe we're rolling along here.
Buddy, we are 45 minutes away from like a trend. 3 data points.
Yep. It's pretty amazing. It's really, it's pretty amazing. But the cocktail tonight, the pour that we have is the paper plane. And the paper plane was created by a bartender, Sam Ross, when he opened the Violet Hour in Chicago. And it's named for, just take a guess, I guess. But I'm not going to tell you. Take a guess. What do you think it's named for?
Kind of feels on the nose, but is it like a paper airplane that you like fold up with a piece of printer paper?
Have you ever heard of MIA? 2008, peaked at number 4 on the Billboard Top 100.
I might have listened to it once or twice.
I fly like paper, get high like planes.
Oh man, this just got painful real fast.
Yeah, I know. I'm not going to sing anymore, but it's named for the song, which was very popular in 2008, Paper Planes by MIA. And it's just, the nice thing is it's very easy to remember how to make it because it's equal parts of the ingredients. So it's equal parts of a bourbon or rye. I like using a rye personally. Amaro Nonino, lemon juice, and Aperol. That's it. Shake it up, equal parts. If you want a 4-ounce cocktail, it's an ounce of each. If you want a 2-ounce cocktail, if you want a 1-ounce cocktail, you get the point.
I'm so happy you're here and you know this stuff because, I mean, I know you said words, but I heard lemon juice and then a whole bunch of gibberish. I'm not going to lie.
Okay, so, but since you're having it, I want your honest feedback because I'm gonna be honest. I love this cocktail. This is truly one of my favorite cocktails to make.
I feel like you're putting a lot of pressure on me because I openly admitted the mint julep last week was not my favorite thing.
Yeah, exactly. And so look, I don't want to go 2 weeks in a row and have you complaining. I need to keep my co-host happy. Okay, so honest feedback, give it to me straight. Do you like it or not?
Yeah, that'll play.
It's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Pretty good.
The kids might say that's dangerous, or at least the kids back in our day. The kids these days probably don't say that anymore.
I mean, yeah, it's a great. It really is a great cocktail, and I love making it. I love making it for friends. I think it's I just think it tastes so good, and I think the nice thing is there's no one piece of it that really overpowers the other. You've got, you get a little bit of the bitter of the Aperol, you get some sweet and sour from the lemon juice, you get that smoke from the whiskey. It's just an all around. It's just a really good cocktail.
So it's almost like keeping all things in balance.
It's just like keeping all things in balance.
Not leaning too hard one way.
Yep.
Man, it's almost like we planned that. Okay, so our faith segment this week.
Yes.
Mary and Martha.
Yes.
So as the story goes, Jesus came to visit, and Mary was very attentive, and there, and she did she have everything like spick and span? Was everything ready to go? No, but he was there. He came calling, and she came to her guests, and she entertained him.
Yep.
And she gave him her attention, whereas Martha stood idly by in another room, riddled with anxiety, thinking about all of the things that should have been done before his arrival.
Okay, but hang on. is your wife anything like any? Before we get into this any further, because this is a great story, is your wife like mine when we're having people over, and it's like the hour or 2 or 3 before, is like running around like all these things got to get done. I'm anxious. Like we haven't done enough. The house isn't clean enough. Is this something that happens in your house, or is it just me?
Do your guests not go into your bedrooms and look to make sure the sheets are tucked in?
Yeah, I mean,
because if you listen to my
they make
wife,
sure the upstairs bathroom and the guest room has been cleaned, even if they're not staying the night.
Well, I mean, and the Jack and Jill between the kids' room that was in purpose built so that guests didn't have to go in there. That's got to be spick and span. Everything's got to be in the drawers, neatly organized, tidy. Heaven forbid there's any dust on the floorboards.
Hey, I'm glad that someone else can relate to this scenario, but I digress because I want to make sure.
There's a dad out there that tells you he can't relate to that. He's a liar.
You smell like beef and cheese.
That's right.
Sit on a throne of lies.
An aggressive quote, but a good quote. Okay. All right. So the idea here is simply like, Mary accepted what was there, and she paid attention to what was right in front of her. Whereas Martha, she got so locked up, and she got so anxious and so worked up because she worried about all the things that she could not control in that moment. She could not affect in that moment, and it took her out of that moment. So Ryan, when you think about like, being present in the moment, being where your feet are, like what does this parable speak to you?
Man, it's a good question. I think I don't know. I think it's super interesting because I think you have sort of this dichotomy that exists in the story between like anxiety and like faithfulness, I guess. Like I think you have one person who is not really worried and one person who is, right, as you sort of described. And I think, I would certainly put myself in the faithfulness sort of camp. I guess I just look at the Bible and let's just take the Bible or even, parenting sometimes, there's so many things that can make you anxious. It's like how I'm raising my kids in a crazy world. There's all these things that are going on. I've got a job, but like what happens if I lose my job? Like how do I provide for them? There's all these questions, and I don't know if you struggle with that, and I'll turn it back to you to answer that maybe in a second. But I think the thing that I always come back to is that, one, I think God is never outdone in generosity. There's just like every time it seems like you need something, and it doesn't mean that it's easy all the time, but like I feel like, and there's been so many times in my life where like things have happened and I look back and it's like stuff just seemed to work out, and it's like, man, like God's faithfulness is just like, it just like shows up. I don't know how to explain it. I've just seen it present in my life.
Like in those moments, like that's great. And I love that you've been able to resonate in that faith. But I'm sure, I know there's been for me, and I'm sure there are for many of the people listening to this right now, there's been those moments where you've faced the big bad wolf and he's cut you down and he's beaten you up and you're downtrodden. But you kept breathing afterwards and the world kept spinning. What do those moments feel like?
I think they feel good. Like it feels good. Like
for me, and I'll let you get back to your riff. I know I interrupted. It's not always just about like, God giving me everything that I need in order to succeed. It's I have everything I need to survive, and it's a like even in those worst of moments, even when I've been beat up, when every failure has slapped me in the face, like the world kept spinning. Everything kept moving. Nobody died. And my wife was still there. My kids were still there, depending on me to continue driving us forward. Yep. And it's like, there's one choice here. And it's not to sit down idly by, it's to keep pushing forward. And maybe we're talking about the same thing, maybe it's just a different perspective.
Yeah.
But
it's interesting you say that. This is like a small example, but I remember vividly. So my grandma, I was very close with her, and my my oldest, also managed to become very close with her, which is pretty cool to have sort of 4 generations, right? I mean, not everyone gets that opportunity. And I remember when my grandmother died, you know, I had to tell my daughter, my oldest, who's very close with her, and she knew she was sick and was going to pass. And it's like, I had to sort of hold my own grief and also like help her. You know what I mean? I know that's like a small thing, but I think that's what you're saying is like, there's times where life will beat you up and get you down, but you have to still show up for your family, for your children. You can't just like stop doing it. And I think the thing, sorry, to kind of bring my point from earlier full circle, is really that there have been so many times in my life where I've seen God's faithfulness show up that it's just like, not that I know exactly where things are going to end, but I just have this trust that like God is going to help me. Yeah. I have what I need to get through it.
He's already given you everything you need to get through it.
Yeah.
And there's something you said there that I feel like was really well said that I feel like we got to reiterate before we, you know, get back to the moral of the parable. And that's that, you know, as fathers, there's this unspoken expectation that we have to show our children strength in times of great peril. Mm-hmm. You know, I think the sign that when a boy becomes a man is when he realizes that no one's coming to rescue him, and he has to do it himself. And I think that for like when a man becomes a father, how he teaches his children that you have to be strong even in moments of great dire, and even facing the death of a loved one, even facing extreme financial loss, even facing whatever it is that life is going to throw at you, that you've been given just through the miracle of birth. You have been given everything you need to keep moving forward.
Yep.
And I'm expanding on what you said because I think it's an important lesson that it's not really related to this specific parable, but it's an important one. I think a lot of dads do it and don't realize they're doing it. I think a lot of moms do it and don't realize they're doing it, because good moms and dads like innately want to show their children that strength, and it doesn't get highlighted like that. And I think in our society, it doesn't always get highlighted. And it's important. But to draw things back in, right? When we talk about, you know, the squeeze of the provider for the parable, you know, when I try to relate, what is Martha doing to, like, is that something I do? Holy cow, yes. Like, do I find myself like in a moment at a basketball game, at a swim meet, at a t-ball game, thinking like, God dang, I got to get the report to my boss. Like, how am I going to get this done?
Yep.
All the time. Like, you know, I said report, insert deliverable X.
Yeah, whatever.
Right? Like, whatever it is. But, like, you're just thinking about the next thing, the next bill, the next, like, opportunity. Yep. And it's like, I got to seize this. I have to deliver for my family. And it's like, bro, you're with your family right now. Mm-hmm. Like, be where your feet are.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, and maybe, and we can talk a little bit more as we get into kind of the, you know, the next segment as we talk about just, you know, family. But I think the one thing that I always try to remember when I think about, you know, work, even my extracurricular activities that I like to do, hobbies I have, I mean, you will never, and I mean never, and I don't care what you do for work, I don't care how important you are at work, and you might be really important at work, you know, you will never be as important as you are in the 4 walls of your own home. And I am a big believer in that. Like, we have to remember that the most important place to be famous, the most important place to be needed and wanted is right here. And if you remember that, not that it's always easy, but the other stuff, you figure it out.
You know, it's well said. And I think when we, you know, talking about our families, like, I can remember a couple times taking the kids to drop off, right? Taking the big one to school, taking the little one to daycare.
Yep.
And it's like, oh my gosh, I cannot get through this fast enough. I have to get back to the office. I've got to get on a call. I've got this and that to get done. And it's like, I'm just trying to rush through and I'm just trying to get by. And I'm like, just hurrying my kids, scooting them along. Go, get dressed, eat, go, get out of the car, get on. And it's, you know, you get through it. And then like, I remember one time I was driving home after a drop off and I'm like, what the heck did I just do? Like, all I did was get both of my kids so worked up and so anxious walking into school, walking into daycare.
Yep.
You know, where I want them to have a good day. I want them to enjoy the time with their friends at their school, like be engaging in with their classroom and learn. Yep. And I did nothing to help them get prepared for that. And there was this one time I remember it's the same time we were driving to school and my oldest was being so quiet, and you know her. Like she's very vocal. Yeah. She's very talkative. She's very social.
She's not one to be quiet, especially if
absolutely not. So obviously, I knew something was wrong, and I was trying to pry it out of her, and nothing was getting through. And I was getting frustrated. I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to get her to school, and it's like we were having this huge fight, and she was saying nothing, and like I was having a fight with myself, and you know, I look back on that one ride to school so often and think like, what did I just do? You know, like, did I just like lay the seeds for anxiety for life with my daughter? Like, and it's something, you know, I was talking to my father-in-law, and this was years ago, but you know, when like early on in our marriage, you know, just a random, you know, patio conversation over a glass of wine. And he was telling me like, my kids talk about like all the fun memories, but the first things I always think about are every time I messed up. And, you know, my father-in-law, again, tremendous human being. He's, you know, he calls himself a 2%er. And that's somebody that's always thinking about like that 2% better they could have been. And that's where he fixates. And in a lot of ways, I'm cut from the same cloth. And I think about those times when I screwed up so often.
Well, and I think it's hard for any parent today, whether you're a mom or a dad, not to get caught up in some of the social media culture that you see. I mean, you know, there's a funny meme I saw where it was like, and I don't know how to accurately describe it, but essentially it's like people will take a picture and be like, of their kids and be like, my world, and post it on Instagram. But like 5 seconds before that, their children were like beating each other up and screaming and melting down. And we have this like curated image of parenthood, of fatherhood that exists in a social media space that isn't real life, right? In real life, there's the grind there. And I don't mean that. I don't mean the grind in a negative way, but like, I'm sorry, your children are not, if you're posting on Instagram that your children are amazing, they probably are amazing, but that doesn't mean they behave 100% appropriately at every moment of every day.
Well, you just said it perfectly. Like, it's an illusion that we've created just to antagonize ourselves.
Yes.
Like, and we talked about this a couple weeks ago. It's like, don't believe for a second that the parent right next to you who puts on this show has everything figured out. Yeah. It's like, no, they don't.
No, we don't.
And no, everyone's got like their slight variation of it, but everybody's going through it. Every single one of us.
Yep.
And you know, and for some reason we've made it taboo in our society to talk about it, which is dumb because I'm sorry,
no, we should,
but it takes a community of parents to hold themselves up in these adverse moments, because like just the story I talked about, like I got so like inside my own head that I was not being an effective parent for that stretch of time. And, you know, outside of that, it's like, anyone like observing that could have been like, dude, she just needs a moment to wake up. Like, it's fine.
Yeah.
And it's like, stupid stamp. Like, oh, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But I didn't see that on my own. And I wasn't thinking about that on my own. And so many people won't even ask that question or won't ask for that help because they see this perfect curated image on the internet.
Yep. And I think the lesson, or the thought from me is, and I've said it before, our kids don't need perfect parents, and as parents, we don't have perfect kids, and that's okay. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. And the sooner that I think we accept and realize that we're not perfect, it it's good. And I think it's a good reminder. You know, I think sometimes, I mean, I remember when I was like 15, I could not wait until I turned 16 and could drive a car. And then when I was 16, it's like I couldn't wait until I was 21 because I never drank a sip of alcohol before I turned 21. I couldn't wait to turn 21. And then you can't wait to get married. And like we're always sort of, I mean, all of our lives, I feel like it's always like, oh, I can't wait for this. I'm so excited. And there will be people out there that will say, well, you can and you will wait. But, you know, we're in such a hurry. And even with our kids, hey, you know, I'm so ready for my child to be out of diapers so that I don't have to change diapers anymore. Or I'm so ready for this, and things will get better. But like at the end of the day, I saw a video on Instagram, and I'm paraphrasing here, but basically the person said, you know, when you first have your baby, you fall in love with this little tiny baby that, you know, you can hold and cuddle and right, and then a few years later, that baby is replaced by another sort of baby that's got, you know, missing teeth and a huge smile and is asking you just the most random questions, like
the most adorable belly laugh you've ever heard.
Yes, yep. Yes, you know what I'm talking about. And then that child and on and on and on, and then all of a sudden, on one day, all those kids walk out the door, and they're gone.
Yeah, I think something that we unconsciously do is try to rush through these young years, and it's silly to do it, because I mean, I don't know about you guys, but like my wife and I talk about all the time, like we're never getting these years back. Like this is it. Mm-hmm. You know, some people say, yeah, you get 18 years with the kids. Well, BS. Like a good chunk of those years, they don't want anything to do with you.
Yeah.
Like you're not cool. Mom and dad don't know anything.
Yep.
Like we're gonna go through a phase of that. And Candy, like you and I are in the years right now where it's like, mom and dad are awesome.
Mm-hmm. I want to spend all the time.
I want to spend all my time with mom and dad. I want to be right at their hip. Yeah.
Yep.
And like just like I did in that story, it's like, what? How do you find yourself like trying to rush through those years?
Well, I'm trying not to, and I think that's why this conversation is good, because I think we shouldn't. And this is where we need to put our phones down. We need to be present. We need to spend time with our kids. We need to look them in the eye. We need to listen to them. We need to have those conversations with them. We need to laugh with them. Like, and yeah, not every day is going to be perfect, but who cares? This in 25 years or 30 years, if we're still doing this podcast, we're going to be sitting here reminiscing about all these good times, all these memories. You know, to quote The Office, because I love this quote. Andy Bernard says it. I wish you had a way to know that you were in the good old days before you've left them. Like, we are in the good old days right now. We are.
You're right. But I just had a thought. Like, if we're still doing this in, what will it be, 8 years? Our oldest will be in high school. Think of how annoyed they will be knowing
No, they have a podcast. Yeah. But see, that to me is like, that's why we have to keep doing this.
Of course.
There is no
choice.
Course.
I mean, just think about
whether people listen or not, we've got the equipment. So you're stuck with us.
We've got the equipment, and you know what? Just like the satisfaction of our kids growing up knowing like, oh my gosh, my dad is going to go over and sit in Ryan's garage and record themselves talking about stuff that just is so annoying. And I mean, just think about the teenage girl mindset in that.
Okay, but also think about this conversely. 80 years from now, or maybe not that many, maybe 50 years from now, you and me are gone. We're in heaven. Our children can throw on Spotify and listen to this.
You don't think I'm going to make it past 86?
Well, debatable.
Bro. Okay.
Okay.
Let me. I get to refute that. Okay. So we got to take a quick break and pay some bills. All right. So Ryan, I've been doing this thing for about 6 weeks, and I think it has been so impactful, like to my energy, my focus, and just, yes, I have noticed that you have already finished your cocktail, and I am being a gentleman and pacing myself through the conversation.
It's too good.
But I digress. Anyways. I was someone that was consuming 1,000+ milligrams of caffeine a day.
Were you drinking some Celsius?
I was slamming some Celsius. I was slamming some energy drinks like a professional. And finally, my wife looked at me and said, "You are going to kill yourself." And not in a funny mean way, but in like I'm
You
worried
need to
about,
stop.
Yeah. And so I started thinking like, man, I don't know how I could do this without all this caffeine.
Yep.
What I realized is that was a mental block, but I did need something to help me through and to give me this like unlock of focus.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when my social media algorithm hit me with Rise Mushroom Coffee. And man, I got to tell you, I've been doing this stuff for 5-6 weeks now, and
you told me the other weekend. You said I've never been more locked in. You looked like Hulk Hogan. You're like, brother, I've never been more locked in.
I'm telling you what, like I have not felt this degree of focus in a decade. Like I'm 36 years old. I'm waking up at 5 a.m. almost every day.
Yep.
I'm getting up. I'm reading the news. And then about 30 minutes in, I'm having 1 cup of coffee.
Mm-hmm.
1.
Yep.
And I'm mixing in 1 scoop of Rise with it. And I'm having a little bit of protein in the morning, but I'm going. And it sustains me throughout the day.
I'm gonna have to try it. I'm gonna try it.
You got to. So anyway, we're gonna link in the video. You'll see QR code up that you can scan, or you can drop a link in the look in the bio. And I got to tell you, like,
and I will do it for the next 6 weeks, and then in 6 weeks, I will report.
You better. I've got my wife started on it, and she's on day 4, and she is not a believer. But I tell you what, my brother-in-law, he started about the same time I did, and he says the same thing. It is just this. It's just an unlock, and it's not like. It doesn't feel manufactured.
Yeah.
It's a like, I've got a sustainable energy. I've got a sustainable focus. So anyway, Rise Mushroom Coffee, check it out. Check the link in the bio, scan the QR code, get it from Amazon. The deal is always good there. You get quick Prime shipping. Always a good deal. All right.
Okay. So let's transition to our kind of what's hot, what's moving in the world. We both have kids in daycare, right? So this is something that is and something that's in the news, right? Childcare for a lot of people doesn't feel affordable, doesn't feel attainable, and it's it's quite a challenge, I think, for a lot of people. So just to kind of level set a little bit on the numbers, because I think that's important. So center-based daycare averages $1,230 a month, which if you extrapolate that out is about like $14,000 a year, right, in childcare. And that's based on some 2025 reporting, kind of national averaging, right? So, I mean, some of that fell around like 13,000, but we're kind of in the ballpark, right? $14,000 a year per child, essentially. And infant care, if you have infants, as you know, that runs even higher because there's the lower ratio. They can't have as many, kids in the room. Right, so I mean that gets
the insurance is killer.
Yes. And in a lot of cities, childcare is costing more than rent. I mean, it's a bigger line item than the average rent in all 50 states, which is I mean, when you think about it, like that, like rent, your mortgage should be your biggest line item. Should be, theoretically.
I don't know that I agree with that, but sure.
Conceptually,
no. Like conceptually, yeah. Like just make your point.
Yeah,
Let's let's parking lot that for a second.
Okay, well, and when we think about the federal government has sort of like an affordability bar where it says, hey, like this is how much you should, almost like sort of like a bit of a budget, I guess, or how you should think about how your finances fall. It says that 7% of your household income essentially potentially going to childcare is like, I mean, that just that is basically the point I'm making is childcare is not affordable. And like, how do we, not how do we fix that, but like, I kind of want what are your thoughts on that?
So number one, I have to say I'm so proud of you for doing your math this week. I mean, clearly my little jab last week where you proved my point by not doing your math.
It's like the Michael Jordan meme. I took that personally from The Last Dance. That,
as you should have.
Yeah.
Okay. So daycare math. This is tough, dude. Like, I gotta say, circumstances rule the day here.
Yep.
And we're situated in the part of the country where living expenses are one thing. I think what you have to consider is that optionality is limited depending on where you're at. And I think one of the hardest things that I grapple with here, like before I start looking at the money, it's who am I going to trust my kid with? And that in itself creates a market driver of price. And the market knows that, and it's self-aware of it. So it knows that if you have a quality daycare service, whether that's an in-home nanny, whether that's a center, whether that's an in-home like daycare, whatever it is,
early childhood center,
yeah, whatever it is, like they know that when they hit high marks, they can cha-ching up that price.
Yep.
And that's stacking on top of rising costs of food and insurance and everything. Right? Most of these facilities, they're running on borrowed money. Interest rates are they're not like skyrocketing, but they're certainly higher than they were a few years ago. No, they're not. No, they are not. And I don't think based on recent global political implications, I don't know that they're going to be going down anytime soon.
I would not envision that.
But I digress. I think what you have to weigh out is what does it take to provide a good life for your family. And once you realize like what that is, then you can start drumming out like, okay, what does that cost? Right? Yeah. And at a certain point, you just explained what the numbers were. At a certain point, daycare is going to consume all or most of a second income.
Yeah, one in 5 families spend over $30,000 a year on daycare.
That's a teacher's salary in some states.
It's
which is sad on its own, but we'll get to that another day.
Yeah. So the numbers are certainly stark, and I think it's interesting because the question, it's like, okay, both parents work and you're paying for childcare. Depending on what one or two of the parents are making, you might be essentially just your job might. Legitimately, your job could just pay for childcare, which is kind of crazy to think about. A line item such as that consuming
and
that much of your family's income.
Yeah, and it's not fair to there's other like non-financial implications there that you have to consider too.
Yep.
Like I'm not knocking like the homeschool kid. The homeschool route. There's many amazing benefits that come to that. And generally, like anything we talk about, there's pros and cons. But what I will say is there is a benefit to socialization of children, right? Like it's very easy to see when like parents have not made an effort to socialize kids, and something that daycare
certainly provides.
It is.
Yep.
And it's an important part of development.
Yep.
And that's worth something. Sure. It's hard to put a dollar to that, but it is worth something.
And I would add that I think that I have, we've used the same daycare provider with both of our children. She's absolutely amazing. And I think our children are better because they spend time with her. I think it's a different voice. It's, she has clear expectations. She has a sort of a routine. She does fun projects with them. And so I think there's a value to giving your children.
You're saying that putting your child in an environment where they have to learn to respect and listen to another adults is
good.
A good thing, a positive thing for
it's
their development?
Yes.
Man, that's nuts.
I know.
Do you ever think like they behave better for this care provider than they do 100%. For mom and dad?
I love when I pick up my child and, she's been so good today. And I get her home and she becomes an absolute savage.
Like nothing you can do is okay. And
yes.
she says, Dad, I'm hungry. Dad, I want to play. Dad, I want to watch Bluey. Dad, we need to go downstairs and play hide and go seek. Dad, I want to color this book. Dad, can I have a snack?
Now, what's so interesting though, and my wife's background is child development. So, I trust her. I've certainly trust her expertise here. But one of the things she said is that sometimes your children will behave the worst for you because they feel safe doing that, because they know they
Man,
can.
listen. Okay, hold on a second. So, okay, I get it.
We're digressing a little bit off the topic.
No. That is the enabling argument, and I'm sorry, I don't buy it. Because here's the thing, like I hear people when they say like, oh yeah, your child feels super comfortable around you, so you're gonna get the absolute best and the absolute worth. I maybe that's true. I cannot stand it because like I really feel like, you know, they're going to be different for mom and different for dad. Absolutely, they are. Yep. Is it a matter of discipline? No, it's not just a matter of discipline. Is it a matter of like how you interact with your kids day to day? Yeah, I mean that's probably part of it, right? But it's, you know, like I just feel like that you can't tell me that I'm going to get the jerk because they're comfortable with me. But
I look, I have no figures or quotes or facts to back this up outside of citing my wife. I have been told that there is science that backs this up, that your children will behave the worst for you. Because now, look, my wife might have.
Did you just blindly quote science without knowing the science?
Yes. Yeah, but hey, it's my wife. I mean, look, if she was wrong, like
I'm quoting my wife. That your wife is wrong. Your wife is a very intelligent, educated, and well put together human being. But did you just say quote science even though you don't know the science?
Pete,
answer the question.
I did.
I know. Thank you.
But now look, she might have told me this when I was really frustrated with how our children were acting to make me feel better too. I have no idea. She could have been like, oh, there's science that backs this up and blah, blah, blah. And there might be no science that backs it up. However, I do think that there's some science aside.
Can I tell you a funny story real quick
about
that? So my wife is medical background, and there was one time when she said to me, I don't remember what it was, but like she said, there are legitimate studies out there that prove this is correct. And I looked at her like, whatever. Like, what are you talking about? And she proceeded to cite like 10 different medical journals that thoroughly proved she was right and I was an idiot. And that was just like a perfect encapsulation of our relationship.
Of course.
Probably any husband and wife relationship, right?
Yes, 100%.
But oh my goodness, my wife is so smart. Like she just, like, when she knows her stuff, like, I should know better than to challenge her.
I know. I have made the mistake of one too many times.
Haven't all husbands?
Challenging my wife and ending up on the wrong end of that argument. And so now I'm just like, whatever you say. That's why I'm quoting her like it's science.
She's trained you well.
She's trained you well.
Level set with me. Like but in those moments when you have like had that little headbutt, does that data point come up again like years later?
Sometimes.
Oh man, for me,
sometimes
it's like
it's
like a guarantee. Eventually, like I'm going to be reminded.
Hey, remember when I told you this? Yeah. But let's that was a fun little digression. But let's bring it back here and land the plane. I think, what we are trying to really get at is childcare is certainly very expensive, and whether you make a lot of money or whether you are feeling more of the squeeze of just the financial world that we're living in. Childcare, I don't care who you are, it accounts for a large line item of your family's budget. And it's obviously a short amount of time depending on what you do with your children for school. By the time they go to kindergarten, that line item can fall off, right? So it is time boxed, but I don't want to deny or belittle the fact that during these years it's really challenging. And I think all families are faced with that choice of, do we have someone stay home with our kids, to save money, or are we both working, and what does that look like, and who are we trusting with our children? And it's a really tough decision. And I think, I don't know if there's there's not a one size fits all solution. There's not a great answer to it. But I think the biggest thing I would say is it's something that keeps me up at night sometimes, is like, there's a lot going on, and you're trying to make ends meet, and you're trying to, make sure your kids are well taken care of. And thankfully for my wife and I, like, we found an amazing daycare provider, but there's people out there that like can't even find childcare. They want it and they can't find it.
And even a big majority of them that can, like, they don't have optionality.
Yeah, or they settle for the first person that'll take their kid.
You know, I said it in the onset of the segment, like, circumstances are going to rule the day here. And you're exactly right. There is no one size fits all solution. And the thing is, like, and I think the real lesson in this, and I think that this is probably the biggest takeaway for this segment for me, is that, like, you need to know that, like, given your circumstances, the decision you're making as a father, as a parent, as a mom and dad unit, like, you're making the best decision you can for your family, and no one else can
make that decision.
No, they can't.
And they shouldn't.
And they shouldn't, and they don't know better.
Yep.
Because that's the other part. Like, you're going to get a million people telling you, oh, go here, oh, go there, oh, don't
stay home with your kids. You should work. What are you doing?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the thing is, none of them know. None of them know the full story of what you're going through. None of them know all the circumstances. Only you do. And so I think the lesson here is, like, make a decision that you feel is good.
Yeah.
And be confident in that decision. And don't waste time second guessing it. Don't get paralyzed like Martha did, analyzing and thinking, like, did I do the wrong thing? And losing yourself and losing time.
Yep.
And because the thing is, like, all you're doing is creating anxiety in yourself, and by transitive property, creating anxiety in your children, whether you want to or not. Like, even if you think you're fixing it, like I did on that drive to school.
Yep.
You know. So, I mean, I think my closing thought here is very simple. Like, be where your feet are. Don't get caught up in thinking that the decision you're making for your family, whether it be daycare or a parent stays home, is right or wrong.
Yep.
Make the decision that feels right in the moment. Figure out how to make it work.
Yep.
And just know that, like, you're doing the best you can for your family.
Totally agree. And I think it ties back to what I said earlier about social media. We've got a culture today that has built such a curated image of what it means to be a parent. And I've said it before, I'll say it again. I'm on a bit of a soapbox, I feel like, but I really want to use this platform to make this point. It's that there are no perfect parents. There aren't perfect children. There's not a perfect way to parent your children. There's no manual for this. I don't care how many books exist about parenting. We're all learning and we're all doing it, and we're growing up with our kids at the same time. And we need to operate with that understanding. And when we make a mistake, we say sorry. You know, it's cool. It's good for our kids to see us, you know, hey, I messed up. I'm not perfect. You might think I'm a superhero and I can't do anything wrong, but I'm not perfect. And that's
the superpower is working past it.
Yeah.
And showing
100%.
them how to work past it.
100%.
But no, that's great, Ryan. I think you're so right. Now, I do have a couple closing thoughts that I think are important for our viewers to know.
Okay.
I've noticed that it's once again 95 degrees outside and you're wearing a freaking sweater. It's July, man. What are we doing?
I like this sweater a lot. I mean, I really like the sweatshirt. And it's technically cooler today, a little bit. It was raining.
When the viewers are seeing this, it is August. All right, one more call out, just so everyone knows. Ryan finished his beverage like 10 minutes into the pod. I at least paced myself, but guys, like, I whined about the mint julep last week. This thing is money.
It's a great cocktail.
Watch the kit, get the kit,
Yep.
Make yourself a paper airplane.
Yep.
Ryan, send us out of here.
And subscribe wherever you're listening. Please share, engage with us on social media. We want to hear from you. Share our stuff. We want to get this message out. I think it's really important. We want to build that community of dads, and moms that want to join in. Great, like parents, right? That are doing their best, showing up, working really hard to be the best parents they can be for their kids every day. That's the community we want to build. If you want to be a part of it, make sure that you you like and share and drop any comments and questions that you have. Next week, though, we are going to be talking a little bit, especially around the business, on remote work versus office work. It's become, since COVID ended, right, and we've got people back in the office. There's been a lot of conversation about it. You're not going to want to miss this if you're a remote worker, if you're an office worker. some good, lively discussion on what that sort of business model might be costing businesses. Should be super interesting. Pete, what do you think?
It's going to be a spicy tamale right there, Ryan.
It is
All right,
called
everybody.
Where Work Ends. And where work ends, cocktails begin. And we are